right, thank you for staying with the State of the Nation right here on Daybreak. My guests are with me, Honorable Mark Nyamita, Member of Parliament for Uriri, Honorable Joe Nyutu, Senator for Murang'a, and Dr. Kuru Court, Party Leader, Third Way Alliance. We're getting into the final part of this conversation. It's the substance of this whole political debacle started with something that Edwin Sifuna also said, that removal of President William Ruto is a matter of national priority. The president responded to the same thing and said, what are the alternatives to the policies that I have that you're putting on the table? And this is what both leaders had to say about this conversation. Listen.
I want William Ruto to know that his removal from office is a national priority agenda. It is the only agenda. Because his government is totally opposed to everything that this constitution stands for. And I want these people to be bold. Don't be bullied. You don't have to. He wants to push you into a corner where you're discussing markets. Tell Albert Ojwang about markets and roads. In my ranking, removing Ruto is top. It's even higher than getting a second terminal at JKIA or dualing Malaba to Mombasa. My view about 2027 is that there will be no room for sentiment. The project of removing William Ruto does not allow for sentiment. We will not work with angels. There are no angels. Even Sifuna is not an angel. I have my faults. I'm not a perfect human being. But the national priority project of removing William Ruto does not allow for sentiment.
I hear my brothers and sisters say, let Ruto go, then we will figure out. To me, that sounds like the wash conmanship. One term, Kasongo, Ruto must go, is not enough. Just like those who were there before me, my time will come and I will go.
Removal of Ruto will have no room for sentiments. Is that the
Trevor, before I just respond to that, let me put something into context that my brother here said about bribery.
Yeah.
And so that it is on record, it is my brother Nyutu, Senator Nyutu, who said that the Nyanza people are actually being bribed. And I said, this is the context, I said, if building a road in Nyanza is what they call bribery, if that is what they call bribery, then we are happy about it. Because this is a view, this is a trouble that we have in this nation, Trevor, that when a road is done, other than particular regions, when electricity is, people are connected to electricity from other regions, they are considered that they are actually being bribed. Now, let me say, it is a right of every Kenyan to get development. And, you know, during the break, my good friend here, our court, said it is actually from independence. Every Kenyan who pays taxes has a right to development. However, we all know that that goodwill from government has not been obtaining from that particular period. Because I can tell you, for the whole of the 10 years that Uhuru Kenyatta was president, there was no project that was initiated in Migori, where I come from. We had the rights, we contributed. There was no goodwill. Yet we had the rights. It is the truth. During that particular time, exit Uhuru, this last election, almost 1,000 kilometers of roads called Mau Mau were being actually done in the Mount Kenya. No one spoke, no one thought about us. So when a road now is being done on this other side, you guys are being bribed. That one is what I disagree with. We do not want any region to be bribed. We want equity. And what my brother here doesn't tell you is that this government, what is doing, is trying. And I think, let's give credit where it is due. President Ruto has tried to attain a bit of equity. And even then, there is still a bit of bias. If you look at the budget of roads that in the budget that we just actually passed, almost over 50% of that budget is in one particular region. However, these markets that people are talking about, every single place there is a market coming up, including in Murang'a where he comes from.
How could you as legislators...
And my brother here correctly agrees...
Good question.
Sorry?
How could you as legislators allow more than 50% of roads budget to go to one...
Because
the failure.
This is the thing that actually happened. In the previous government, you know, when a contract has actually been given, maybe it was a failure in the last parliament, I would agree. But when a contract has actually been given,
but
when we looked at
question,
we actually did.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. When the contracts were actually signed during that last parliament, this government is obligated to ensure that those contracts are actually seen to the end. And in so doing, therefore, you find that the money actually, even when I hear people criticizing the securitization of road levels fund, the money that was actually generated from there, the bulk of it went into servicing some of these roads that were actually contracted with a lot of bias in the previous regime. But a responsible government will actually see through the contracts of the day and correct those things as an ongoing basis. And that's why part of that money has been used to initiate a few other roads that other people are calling bribery. Because it is, and now my brother here also did say that, you know, the politics of Luo Nyanza have been known to stand for particular things. I want to tell you, my brother Kurokot, doing the same thing the same way, and you don't expect different results. What has it led us to?
Insanity.
Yeah, it is insanity actually. What has it led us to? When we have done that over this whole period of time, the economic situation of the region has gone down. The infrastructure has gone down. You know, every single index has actually gone down. Our factories have collapsed during that time because Kenyans have left one particular region to be the people who speak for the rest of Kenyans. And we are saying we will continue to speak for the rest of Kenyans, but we will speak when we are inside. But let me answer what he's talking about.
What Nyamita is saying.
Let me just finish.
Yeah.
And when you know, you've given a history of, you know, different presidents, Uhuru, Kibaki, and you said they led at a different time, the priorities then were different. We were talking about deaths. Deaths can never be a priority for any government, including this government. And I am here on national TV saying we condemn deaths, and we collectively, the government and all of us, must move to ensure that, because every single life matters. That must stop. Police abductions must stop, either by, including self-abductions, they must stop now.
Self-abductions?
Yes. Like my colleague, you know, who self-abducted himself is in the public domain. So I'm saying all abductions, including self-abductions, must stop.
Yeah.
That but I am saying the level of noise, and I think that's the context of what the president is talking about, the level of noise that is there about the abductions that are ongoing here, because it's been with us for a long time and we must put a stop to it. The level of noise that is now associated with the ones that have happened now is a bit more higher than it was previously. Okay. They're saying give him time. Yeah. The gentleman has only been in office for 2.5 years. Now,
Trevor, I think
I'll come to option. Yeah, and I'm coming to
both of you.
And back now to your question that Sifuna said, you know, that there
will be no room for sentiment.
There will be no room for sentiment.
William Ruto is the priority.
And he said, and he also qualified that statement by saying that there are no angels.
Yeah.
And the only reason he's saying people who then are going to protect this constitution. Now let's look at the people we are talking about. Start with Matiang'i, who presided over a lot of
killings.
A lot of killings doing whatever. Did he protect the constitution? Are you telling us that we are going to forget that and that you're going to call sentiments? And we are saying no. Look at my good friend Rigiji, anyway, though he's impeached. But look at my friend Rigiji, who we served with in parliament. What is his history? Wasn't he the same person who was clapping during the Moi regime when people were actually being killed during that time? Post-election violence, he presided over it. Isn't that a violation of human rights? And you're telling us that there's not going to be sentiments around that particular time? Forget about it. Number 3, let's talk about even Maraga. Maraga was the president of the judiciary. Please tell me on this TV, and my colleagues are here, including my good friend here in the judiciary, what is that one particular thing that Maraga can be remembered with? Having presided over the judiciary.
Presidential election.
Yeah, and now whatever. No, I'm talking about critical reforms. Annulling a presidential election is just a ruling like any other ruling.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
no.
It's just a ruling. It's just a ruling because he had facts during that particular time.
Can I speak authoritatively about
you will speak. You will speak. You will speak. But I'm saying, please tell us, during that particular time, deaths were happening when he was the head of judiciary. What is it that the judiciary did that is groundbreaking to say that now he stood for human rights? So when someone says that there are going to be sentiments, we are also saying the process of blocking the people who have participated in human rights violations over a period of time is a national priority to block them, and there are not going to be sentiments in the next election.
Trevor, you know, what is interesting here is that Honorable Nyamita is bringing a history into play in the current regime and government. Okay?
We cannot live without history.
No, okay, fine. Let's go that. Let's go historical. Now, the person you are defending conveniently, because of your political expediency at the moment, what is his history as a leader in this country? First of all, and Trevor, I've said it many times on your show here, that the longest serving elected leader in Kenya today, living alive, is President William Ruto. The only person who beat his record was Kibaki, the late Kibaki. Now that he's bringing history, so what is it that we can associate William Ruto as a transformational leader? And I want you to, and I hope Honorable Nyamita will answer that question. Other than, for example, being associated with corruption, bad things, killings, 2007, I don't know, ICC trials, banning people in Kiambaa or whatever, you know. But me, I would like us to move this conversation to a different level. It's not about Kibaki, Uhuru Kenyatta, or Moi is not in government today. Those are not the government that are serving the Kenyan people today. It is the government of President William Ruto.
Correct.
And we must call that government to account. Now, to the substance of what Honorable Senator Sifuna was speaking about, Sifuna was saying that if you look at the Constitution of Kenya today, Kenyan people have expectation of a government of the day. And they are saying that when that government betrays them, they can now invoke Article 1 of the Constitution, where that all sovereign power and authority vests in the people to exercise it directly or indirectly through the elected representatives. Okay. You've got elected representatives here, including Honorable Nyamita, who actually is betraying the people of Uriri because he is not calling the government into account on the killings, on whatever. He is trying to justify, oh, this Uhuru Kenyatta did the same thing, or killings happened under Uhuru Kenyatta, or Matiang'i under what. Listen, that's inconsequential. Those people are not in government today. The people who are in government today must account to us as the people of Kenya. Okay. Article 10 of the Constitution of Kenya is absolutely crystal clear on accountability, transparency, and all that. Yeah. So when Kenyans are saying, and I agree with Sifuna, Sifuna is saying the people of Kenya today are saying they have lost confidence in the current government and the presidency. So we are invoking Article 1. And that's why you see when Kenyans go on the street to talk about, demonstration under Article 37 of the Constitution of Kenya, they are saying, actually, we don't want you anymore. And therefore, this argument of one term should not even be a discussion. It should be now. You know, is the people of Kenya are saying today we have lost confidence in this government. And the president himself has actually come out to say, okay, you guys want me to go. How do you want me to go? And we are telling him, oh, but the Constitution is very clear. Yeah. You can actually resign.
But it's not just the how. He's also asked that what are the other alternatives to the policies that are put in place. Correct. Somebody tell him that on education, I'll do this differently. On economy, I'll do this differently. On jobs, I'll do this differently. Isn't that a valid argument? Tell me which part is going wrong and what your alternative is.
Actually, Trevor, in fact, that's an admission of liability on the part of the president. That my policies on education, on health, employment, whatever, have failed. So let a different regime come in to actually implement those. It's an admission.
That is not how we put it.
No, that's not what he's saying.
What my policies are.
Well,
isn't that a valid argument? You're the one who's saying that we elevate the conversation. Instead of just calling for his removal, what are the alternatives? And not the personality alternatives.
I think Honorable Sifuna summarized it. Yeah. The alternative is to remove this government. Now.
That cannot be an
without now. First, that's the first thing.
Yes, let a different government come in.
Which the president is now saying is akin to a wash-wash scandal.
No, it's not. It's not wash. What is wash-wash? I mean, after all...
That's what the president said. Do you want us to play that soundbite again?
Well, you can play. I mean, I've watched it, but, you know, Trevor, when people call for your resignation, Kwani, you want to tell me that today, if President William Ruto is not president, Kenya will collapse?
Let's bring up that soundbite from the president.
Kenya will not collapse.
This is what the president said. Let's listen to this.
Honorable Nyamita here and Joe, most likely may be replaced.
Trevor, let's just listen to
the people of Muranga will not
play what the president said on this conversation.
I hear my brothers and sisters say, let Ruto go, then we will figure out. To me, that sounds like the wash-wash conmanship. One term, Kasongo, Ruto must go, is not enough. Just like those who were there before me. My time will come, and I will go.
A guru.
Yeah, but you see, what the president is not saying there is that he doesn't have to, you know, his term of presidency doesn't have to end with the constitutional time limit. It's not the only government that will have resigned. There are many presidents who have...
Trevor, you will not get that answer.
No. Nyamita, let me say this.
That answer will not come.
The term of the president is not cast in stone on the person occupying that presidency. Constitutionally, it is cast for a 5-year period. But if you lose legitimacy with the people, that's why we put in the Constitution the possibility...
Which people?
Kenyans.
Okay.
Kenyans. That's why we put in the Constitution the possibility of resignation, impeachment, which they are failing to do, or even putting you in a mental facility to find out whether you're actually mentally fit to run the office or not.
All right. Let me bring in Joe on this and hear what you have to say. Joe, you've heard what the president said. That yes, you are part of the team that has been calling one-term slogan.
Yes.
But he says, what are the alternatives?
Thank you.
In terms of policies, not even the personalities.
Thank you. Before I go to that, please allow me just a second or so to conclude this matter of bribery to Nyanza region, because Honorable Nyamita forgets where it all emanated from. Because it emanated from him when he said the Sifuna is speaking the way he is, because he has enough roads and enough, water projects in Nairobi. And so I was telling him, so he said he insinuated that they're supporting government in order for them, he insinuated that they cannot criticize government like Sifuna because they are getting water and roads. It is him that said that. So I was saying, if you are getting water and roads, in exchange of silence, but he's the one who said that Sifuna is speaking that way because he does not need projects in Nairobi where he's elected. Insinuating, therefore, that they are keeping quiet and silent when a violation of human rights is being perpetrated by this government because they are receiving water and roads. And so I said, then it is a bribe in exchange for your silence. That is what I had said. But Honorable Nyamita is twisting it to suit his particular narrative of supporting government because of maybe even personal gain, sorry to say so. So we must conclude that matter. But let him not, let viewers not, go with it like I'm the one who started the issue of bribery. It is what Honorable Nyamita insinuated here. So finally, he has also done some injustice to the second deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua and Matiang'i, by saying that they cannot be options to President Ruto because they also violated human rights at one particular point in time. Just to remind Honorable Nyamita, Ruto is president today. Matiang'i has never been president. Rigathi Gachagua has never been president. So you cannot compare somebody who actually has the power of the presidency to people who operated at very low levels, in the period and at the different presidency. So you just can't compare. It would be unfair to compare somebody who is in head of government and controlling all the security, agencies and every other agency that there is in this country to somebody like Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, who only was a DO that time. Then you are comparing the two. It would be unfair. I mean, it would only be fair, and I want to challenge Honorable Nyamita, give the presidency to Rigathi Gachagua, then after some time, now compare his presidency to that of Ruto. That will be a fair comparison. So it's important that we talk about that. But now coming to the issue that we have, because we need to make progress, the issue of President Ruto saying that, and Honorable Nyamita is saying that you'll never get that answer. I have it myself. The issue of President Ruto saying that, fine, you're saying I need to go, but what options are you bringing on the table? It is not for President Ruto to ask us what options we have. We have presented our options to Kenyans. It is Kenyans to decide. President Ruto does not have to validate our options that we are bringing on the table. We are presenting them to Kenyans.
But what are those options?
What are those options?
Those options
are listening.
Those options are there. There are many. We are saying, for example, he's, he prides in, sending very many Kenyan youth out there to do some jobs that are not very respectable. And this is common knowledge to everybody. So we are saying we need to change our economy. How do we change so that we can also import labor, by the way? So we can have...
How?
Give me time.
Let him explain.
Why don't you learn? I don't interrupt anybody. I feel very bad when somebody interrupts me.
No, we're listening to you.
Yes. So we can be able to create enough jobs for Kenyans and also import labor. How can we do that? We can, for example, work on the cost of power. I mean, everybody knows that why we have a very high cost of power and therefore low productivity, because the cost of production is high, is basically because of the cost of power. We have IPPs. People in they're independent power producers who, of course, charge a lot, when they supply to Kenya Power. Why can't we invest more in power generation instead of these empowerment programs that we are having of giving that one women 2,000, having made them stay there the whole day? Why don't we put this money into higher power generation to bring the cost of production down so that then our industries can produce more, employ more people? Why don't we give, for example, why don't we build dams and make sure that in Ukambani, vast regions, for example, that are arable but do not have water, why don't we, for example, make sure that there is irrigation in Ukambani, there is irrigation in northeastern, in the arable lands because they are expansive parts of land, so that we can, like Israel, we can also even start, exporting even the foodstuffs. Why don't we put more money in the Youth Enterprise Fund instead of saying that we are buying youth boda, which we carry to the next empowerment engagement because they don't actually come to the youths? Why don't we put more money into the Youth Enterprise Fund? And I know they are listening keenly because why President Ruto is challenging us every day is because he wants to scout for ideas from us. And today I've just decided to be generous to him. I mean, we should actually bring these ideas when they come to government. But because I love this country, let President Ruto benefit from my wise counsel on how we can develop this country. I mean, and we can be able to build this country especially through reducing the cost of production.
Trevor,
why do we continue overtaxing oil products? We can reduce these taxes, and by so doing, then we will have reduced again the cost of production and transportation, and that way the economy will start generating. We must also reduce domestic borrowing, because this is what taking interest rates, making them shoot over through the roof. And therefore, people don't have business. People do not have enough funds to operate businesses. There are many things that can be done, but they cannot be done when President Ruto is in office. That is why our priority program and project is removing him, so that we can get space to implement this.
I have a question for Mark.
Yes.
Actually, it's I want to read it from my dentist, Dr. Victor. And Dr. Victor is saying, ask Honorable Nyamita about fake empowerment.
Okay.
Yeah? And he's saying, ask him, why such unreasonable empowerment by soprano man instead of using the funds to build industries which will empower citizens forever? Okay. So when President William Ruto is asking about what alternatives do you have, I would have expected Honorable Nyamita here to say, we went in the 2022 elections opposing you, presidency. Honorable Nyamita needs to tell Kenyans, now that President William Ruto had said they had the plan, where is that plan? Okay. So when he is asking this question, you know, what are the alternatives? Honorable Nyamita should be asking a question in Parliament, tell us about that plan. Why are you not implementing that plan?
Okay.
And answer the question from my dentist. Yeah. Because he's watching this show.
That's fine.
Yeah?
That's fine.
He's probably from your constituency.
A lot of feedback is also coming at Trevor Mbija Citizen.
That's fine.
Use the hashtag Daybreak. We'll come to that in a short while. But yes.
My good friend here, you know, Trevor, don't end this show prematurely by asking what are the alternatives that the people who are seeking to unseat Ruto have, because otherwise the show will end. And the good thing is that, you know, this show is recorded, so my good friend Senator Ruto will have an opportunity to look at himself when he's trying to give what he describes as alternative and what he describes as wise counsel. He will be actually very sorry for himself. Because if that is what he's talking about as an alternative for Kenyans, I don't think they're going to get past nominations as it is. Let me be first on record that I did not vote for this government. I did not vote for this government, but this government has done certain things that we didn't expect it to essentially do. Let's talk about even SHA, which is a big topic today in the newspaper. Yeah. And I'm hoping that you will come to that. Let's just pick one. Let's just pick one, and I'll ask my good friend, what is the alternative about health? The SHA we are talking about today, we have been taxed, and my good friend said they've raided my payslip. I'm saying it is called tax redistribution. The people who have, because if it is not for Kenyans, I wouldn't be having a job. Neither would you. If it is not for the rest of Kenyans. So when I have the privilege to have a job and possibly earn a certain amount that is slightly higher, I am going to be taxed more than the person who is lower. The more I am taxed, then that money is redistributed to cover the other people who have not got the privilege of what I have. That is why the deduction from my payslip, which is almost 30,000 shillings, every single month is different from the deduction or the payment from someone who is in my constituency who's paying only 500 shillings or 300 shillings a month to access the same healthcare. If we were to go to Kenyatta with someone in my constituency, I am paying 30,000 every single month. If you were to remove the medical cover that I get from Parliament, which is something that even members of Parliament are saying, if the healthcare is going to be working, then we should forget about the private insurance. But that's the thing. If we were to go to Kenyatta Hospital today, I am charged 30,000, almost about 30,000 from my salary. The person in my constituency is being charged 300 shillings, but we should be able to access the same healthcare. It is income redistribution. It is this government that now has ensured that we have moved from about 7 million people who are in NHIF, that is talking about, to now over 20 million who are actually registered. I can tell you, and my constituents and Kenyans are watching.
Registered but not affording.
Just a moment. They have actually registered.
You can register.
And
you can
no. Let me finish. Yeah. They have registered. I'm telling him because probably he has a private insurance. That's why he can pay his dentist the way it is. The people in the village, the people that I represent, today, when I go, the number of people who are asking me, Mheshimiwa, please contribute to us for Arambe because someone is sick. Today, if I have to contribute, I will be paying for the subscription. That is the truth. The hospitals, including private hospitals that were making a lot of noise, now they're only saying that there's a delay. That they were saying that we're not getting money. They actually have come back to life. Just recently, I was in one of our hospitals, which is run by the SDA Church. They had not paid people for 8 months. This payment now is enabling them to actually go. The only missing gap now is for the county governments and governments, especially at the level, the lower level hospitals, to ensure that there is adequate medicine, so that the outpatient bit can actually work.
Yeah.
If you are talking about that has not transformed the health sector, challenges are still there, and those challenges can be looked into. But I can tell you this is far much better than the other one. Now, if you ask my brother here, what is the alternative about health? He will not. Today he's talking about, oh, you know, the reduced domestic borrowing. My good friend, when this government came into place, the CBR rate was at 13%. Do you know what it is today? He does not know.
No,
it is 9.
I'll get my time.
It is 9%.
Yeah.
It has come from 13 to 9%. What that means, let me explain to him so that at least they can perfect a bit of their manifesto.
Yeah.
When it comes from 13 to 9%, it means the cost of money is lower. It makes it accessible for people to actually get more money from the whatever. Did you know that our import cover, exit Uhuru, was actually lower? Today we are about 5 times. So we are actually much more stable as a nation. That is what it is.
Okay.
But maybe he does not understand that's what I'm talking about. So this, when you speak about Youth Enterprise Fund,
Yeah.
Youth Enterprise Fund, now there is a hustler fund, and people are borrowing from it. People are borrowing up to about 100,000. Forget about the name, but there is a fund. That fund is actually even being accessed by people who are paying for SHA. Today, if you don't have the money to pay until the end of the year, you pay for 4 months, you borrow the difference for 8 months, and you pay it without interest. It is a fund. Forget about the name that has been given. But there is a fund that has actually been established. But let me say this.
Explain it per capita.
Sorry?
Explain it per capita. For example, how many Kenyans of the 60 million or people who are capable, who are employed, can actually borrow the way you explain it? Just explain it per capita, because that's the only way we can equate.
The number of Kenyans who are actually borrowing now has gone well over 15 million. I don't have the exact numbers, but it has gone because you can start borrowing from about 500 shillings.
Yeah.
To 100,000 on Hustler Fund. But for SHA, over the 20...
Hustler Fund is a failure.
But what I'm saying for SHA, for purposes of the SHA, all the 21 million, including your good self, if you want to borrow, including myself, you have access to it.
Okay.
But let me say this.
There's a question from the dentist.
The question is, well, he's talking about I don't know who the soprano man is. That for sure is
Kindiki.
Okay, I don't speak for Kindiki because for me,
you must speak for me. Government after me.
No. Listen.
Let's focus on the issue.
Listen.
Empowerment.
Listen to me. I don't know what fake empowerment is. I have participated in some of the empowerments, what we call empowerments. Fundraising is not anything new that this government has actually done. Fundraising has been with us for a very long time. We have fundraised for people going to school. We have fundraised for women. We have fundraised for different causes, even before Ruto became president. But let me say this. I was in Kuria East in my county just recently. And we went there and fundraised. Personally, I gave out my own contribution of 200,000, which is my own money, in support of my colleague. This thing is actually like a merry-go-round.
Yeah.
My colleague who is in Kuria East will come to, so we get ourselves as a group of people and we go on a merry-go-round. So when we visit you, we give you 100,000, but when you go all around, then you also come and empower my, so it's a merry-go-round that is actually going around. Okay. But when we did that fundraiser in Kuria East, they raised about 12 million shillings. I had the privilege of staying 2 days extra, 2 days later to go around when the distribution of the money was being done. And it was about slightly over 2,000 women who are actually being given that money, who are being fundraised for. Who are these women? There's a Mama Mboga who is selling tomatoes, someone who's selling cabbages by the road. There's a small trader with a stock of, some others are selling sweets, some others are selling jugu, with stocks of ranging between 1,000 to 2,000. Each of those women, I was there and I witnessed the area member of parliament distributing 6,000 to each one of them. You can sit here in Nairobi, Trevor, and say 6,000 is small money. You can even sit here and say that 2,000 shillings is small money. But when you go to the village, that woman who is selling a stock of 500, when they get 2,000, in fact, On the second day of distribution, there was a particular woman who had received 6,000 the previous day, and some people mugged her the money. She almost committed suicide because they had stolen 6,000 from her. Because the value of 6,000 to her, which is maybe what between us here is some money that I can give to anyone else, the value of that 6,000 to them was different. However, we are saying it is not a sustainable way. It is not a sustainable way to drive local economies. But I don't think that the economic empowerments that are happening is government policy.
Okay.
We recently just passed the budget.
Yeah.
There is no single budget line that has actually been given that this is the money you are drawing but giving out people money.
Okay.
For me, my understanding of the empowerment programs that are going is money that people are going merry-go-round, I give, and it comes back.
Trevor, before Honorable Nyutu maybe comes in, in the 21st century, should we be talking about fundraising for basic services like health, treatment, education, whatever? Should we be talking about that? If we are to actually, we go back to our independence speech that will eradicate poverty, disease, and ignorance. 60 years plus later. So what Honorable Nyamita is trying to justify is that as a country, we have actually failed to address those three fundamental issues. And we are going into fundraising. We should not be talking about fundraising. We could do fundraising for certain causes, but not for basics. And what Honorable Nyamita, it's not even sustainable, Mheshimiwa, because even for you, I don't think you will be forever a member of parliament. No. You won't. So will you now today be able to sustain that?
This is my last term.
Is it?
Yeah, this is my last term.
You're not running?
I'm
going for governor?
Yes. I'm going higher.
So yes. So the people of Migori are watching and listening. So, but the question really, honestly, I mean, guys, let's escalate this conversation to. We should not really be discussing about fundraising for basic necessities today. True. Yeah.
But Trevor, let me just add him something.
Yeah.
He's saying we shouldn't, and I completely agree. Yeah. And that is why SHA now has reduced the number of Arambes that are people fundraising for health.
Let's see Joe.
No, let me give him an example. Yeah. An example. Then Mheshimiwa Nyutu will answer. A couple of months back, a woman was shot in a village called Lomelo, where I come from. Yeah. So she was transported, we supported her, we transported her to Nairobi Provincial Hospital. And guess what? She couldn't get treatment because they insisted she has to be registered under SHA. Now, if you know Lomelo or Kapedo, as other remote places in Kenya, first of all, you don't even have access to internet. So the capability of even being registered. But here is a woman with a bullet lodged in her body at Nakuru Provincial Hospital, being told, we cannot treat you unless
you're registered for SHA.
You are registered for SHA.
Let's hear what Joe has to say about this. Joe.
Thank you. I wish Nyamita will get some more time to explain to me why he has said that, remember he said that I'll be embarrassed of the ideas that I give. He did not explain why, but just challenge him to go and share these ideas more, and then he can come and thank me later because they're very progressive ideas. And you asked us what the alternative is. He has spent a lot of time explaining about SHA and how it's working and many things. In fact, you would think that he works
and actually the highest subscription
government.
Let him finish.
Look at him. you know, he's a slow learner because I've told him so many times to keep his cool. But he cannot learn. So, you know, there are so many cases, Trevor, of people who are registered with SHA. And when they get big bills, hospital bills, Then SHA comes in and pays just a very small fraction of that bill. That is what they are calling working of SHA, which well, it is paying some fraction of the bill. But mostly you'll find that the bigger part of the bill is left to the household to take care of. And I would have wanted him to tell us also about health care. You know, because the way SHA was supposed to be structured, it had to be, I think there were 3 levels. You know, I think primary health care, then I forget what they used to call the second one, where now, you know, about contribution and that kind of thing, he'll remind me. And then there is what we call critical and emergency care. Just get to talk to any family that has had a patient in ICU for a long time, and you'll be shocked at how much families, households are expected to raise, because SHA will only pay a fraction, like I've said. Then I think Honorable Nyamita, when they sit in government, I hope he's given an opportunity.
I sit in Parliament.
No, but you're speaking for government. You've not spoken for Parliament at all in this particular show. Maybe he can ask them. This requirement that you must register with SHA. Trevor, we have the registration of persons, because SHA is supposed to cover everybody. Every Kenyan is registered. When any Kenyan dies, there is a registration of death also. So it is possible with technology to know who is alive in Kenya today as a citizen of Kenya.
The National Bureau of Registration.
Yeah, the National Bureau of Registration. Yes. Why do you make it a prerequisite, a condition for somebody to benefit from SHA, and you are saying you want to cover everybody? Why must somebody register? Because like Dr. Kurukoht has said, there are Kenyans who do not even have this information. But government knows where they are, and they are Kenyans. They are registered as born in Kenya. They live in Kenya, and they have not died. Otherwise, the same would have been registered. So why? It is just a way of locking out Kenyans, especially poor Kenyans and ignorant Kenyans. And if this government is about every Kenyan, then we should explore options like those. You know, let's go to the National Registration Bureau and see that every Kenyan is covered. So that the only requirement when you land into a hospital is your ID to prove that you are the one.
Exactly.
I mean, technology will prove this is a Kenyan, yes, from this particular place. They need health care. We provided to them, SHA pays. So it's simple. So some of these things are not things you will be able to hide under the carpet. You need to talk. And he has said he's educating me about CBR. Now, and said that when Uhuru came in, it was at 13%, now it is 9%. Fine. What is the cost of credit today in Kenya? I think that is what Kenyans care about. Not figures with the central bank and what have you. I need to know if I go, please, if I go, if I'm applying for a loan, what will be the annual interest rate? That is what Kenyans care about. It's not about the CBR rate, what it was, what it is
and
now.
Affordability.
Yes, it is what I will, affordability, the cost of credit. So let people not come here and, you know, engage in academic exercises. Kenyans want results, not what you information you get, I don't know from where. This Hustler Fund. He has said that we have an alternative of Youth Enterprise Fund. Fine. I did not say that there is no fund at all. I said that we can empower these funds more, allocate more funds to these particular funds, so that then Kenyans who come looking for financial assistance from these particular funds will get, you know, will get a reasonable, you know, because you must accept that the cost of living is very high today. And so if I'm going to start a business, I mean, I need a good amount of money. And then that's what I did not say at all, that there is no Hustler Fund, that there is no Youth Enterprise Fund. It is important for people to listen before they challenge somebody's whatever. But
Trevor,
there's something. Please, Dr. Ekuru, allow me. What I want to emphasize on, because Nyamita is telling us about what the government has done. That's why he spent a lot of time on SHA. The most pressing issue today is youth unemployment. That is the most pressing issue.
Correct.
We would have done with NHIF, by the way, but the most pressing issue and the priority is youth unemployment, which is what actually has made ODM to be in government today. Because remember the uprising last year about a finance bill, it was fueled by youth unemployment. But ODM, of course, took advantage of youth resistance, and under the claim that they were going to stabilize government, got into government and completely abandoned the youth. So youth unemployment is what is most pressing, and that is why I did not even care talking about CBR, about SHA. That's why I talked about building more industries to absorb our youths.
Yes.
And when I agree with Nyamita, totally, that's 6,000 Kenya shillings. Could be a lot of money for some people. That one, I cannot dispute that. But then he needs to tell us something about the 31 women who are supposed to share 2,000 Kenya shillings. Not just about the ones that he says were receiving 6,000 Kenya shillings. And I have no reason to doubt that they were receiving it because I was not there. But there are those who received 2,000 against 31 women. Let them tell us about that. And those things, the things that
I have a question.
No, hold on. Let's bring up some of the feedback. A lot of feedback is coming from people. Let's hear that, and then I'll get closing remarks from all of you. If you can close with your question. Because there's also another one here as we bring up the feedback from Eric Odida, who says that, good morning, Trevor. Kindly ask Joe Nyutu that SHA is active and very working. I was just treated in Rwanda with SHA, and the payment was prompt. But ask Nyutu what happened with Ruto. They supported him with a lot of vigor. Is it because their man was removed for being a tribalist? We'll answer that later on. Areme Kiwerenge says the weakest link in our governance system is Parliament. We would not be witnessing much unrest if Parliament was performing its roles effectively. Our Parliament is largely pro-president and anti-people. Okay. Patrick says Edwin Sifuna clearly articulated the true voice of the common citizen. He earns an A for that. What we are seeing now is an attempt to sugarcoat ODM party's position and its signed agreement with UDA. Yes, the deal is public, but UDA is playing a deeper game, one only a few can sense. This moment calls for a different kind of political reasoning. In fact, Senator Sifuna is standing tall as a true statesman. Linus says Nyamita must understand that the government of the day bears responsibility for both past and present atrocities, especially on issues of accountability and the rule of law. Staying silent or loyal just because of the beauty of leadership is like staying in an abusive relationship for appearances. Okay. Frank says the state of the nation is one of deep fatigue and growing frustration. While leaders bicker over power and personal interest, families are suffocating under the weight of the high cost of living, public institutions are collapsing, and the youth are slowly losing hope. Bobotieno says yesterday it was President allies blaming past regimes, and today it's Raila Odinga's camp doing the same. Truth is, we are stuck in a blame game while the country crumbles. Just like former CJ Maraga once said, we are becoming a failed state. Okto says, Trevor, let's be honest. Kenya is bleeding from the inside out. They borrow in our name, loot in broad daylight, then return with loudspeakers and checks, calling it empowerment. That's not development. It's debt-wrapped deception. Leonard Masika says it's glaringly obvious that nothing is working under the KK government. Even its loyalists are struggling to defend it. Education is in shambles, no capitation. Health is collapsing. The economy is depressed and empowerment funds are being looted. It's time to resign. Ekuru, closing remarks. You want to close it with a question?
So I will say this. There are two things I want to say.
Yeah.
Honorable Nyamita here is confusing a one-night stand and making it a marriage. His political affiliation today is what can, and I'm trying to be vivid about the real politics, that you're not in a marriage that will stay for a long time. Just accept that you're in a one-night stand. But listen, to a bigger issue. Council Aaron Ndubi has asked me to ask the Mheshimiwa Zia, and I want to read it from his text. He says, kindly ask those MPs and you, Trevor, why the exposes from the Auditor General and Controller of Budget never feature in the debate in Parliament. Number two, let Ruto know that being elected is not a right. He's treating as if it's one of his one of these deserves. So I will leave it at that and say, Trevor, the country is on a slippery slope. And I think until we have people like Nyamita and his party that have for a long time conned Kenyans that they are for change, actually admit that things are going wrong, and their continued association with a regime that is failing. I mean, like you heard from the country's bleeding.
Yeah.
The truth for the matter is, this government is the most unpopular, and this president, William Ruto, is the most hated, ridiculed president in the history of Kenya. I'm saddened that an intelligent man like Nyamita here will actually be dallying with such a regime.
All right.
And I think we need to have a conversation. How do we, as a people, as Kenyans, can actually be honest about what is happening in our country?
Okay, Joe, a minute, closing.
Thank you very much. Trevor, allow me to respond to the viewer who asked what happened.
Yes, very brief.
Because we supported William Ruto very strongly. Why don't we support him now? And I think it's important to be fair to that particular viewer to tell him that when a marriage starts, it's always very romantic. But when one particular partner starts misbehaving, then you are not bound to remain in that particular marriage. So we accepted and supported William Ruto because when he came, we thought that he was a change that we needed at that time. Remember, the president came from our region, but we ignored him in favor of Ruto because, one, he came with the Bible and he made us believe that he was a Christian, he was a believer. What he has done so far is there for everybody to see. I mean, even the pastors who used to pray for him have been kicked out of State House. I mean, so it wasn't, he didn't have it in his heart at that time. So we realized whom he was. Number two, he had promised that he would not use state agencies to sort his politics, which he's doing, and you have seen arrests being made arbitrarily against people who do not support him now. You have seen some youths from our region being charged under the Anti-Terrorism Act because Kikuyu police station was torched, while there is another one in Mawego that was torched, and nothing like that has been done. And so there has been intimidation and isolation of the region. He had promised that he would not treat his deputy the way he was treated. Suffice it to say that nobody actually even tried to impeach him, so he cannot keep any promise. But the most, for me, as a person, my point of departure, complete point of departure with President Ruto was the abductions and killings of youths after the June 25 protests of last year. Trevor, I cannot sit on the same table with somebody with blood of innocent youths in Kenya. And so I just wanted to answer that particular viewer. But just to tell you, generally, that just to remind everybody that under Section 1 of the Constitution, all power belongs to the people of Kenya. So it is the people of Kenya to decide how to exercise their power. It is, even if they want to give, to vote President Ruto out and elect somebody with no idea at all, it is the people of Kenya to decide. It is not William Ruto and his government to decide under Section 1 of the Constitution.
You can even give it on.
Yes, if they want.
Let me say, I think generally people have agreed, and I completely agree with them, that our big problem now is youth unemployment. And if it is not addressed, whereas youth unemployment has not started over the last 2 years, it is something that has been with us. But it is a responsibility of the current government and all of us leaders collectively to ensure that we really resolve it in the proper way. The current government is trying, but it is not yet there. But it is trying, at least better than previous governments. That I have to actually say. But I'm a bit saddened when someone says that we all live in this country and we know that the government as it is and the state of the economy, it is not possible, whereas health is a basic right that the government actually has a responsibility to provide, it cannot afford 100%. The health program that we have is a contributory scheme. Being a contributory scheme, there is no way you will deny people from registering. You have to register because it's a contributory scheme, both formal and informal. Going forward,
Yeah.
I want to say, we will only build this nation if we build it on issues,
Okay.
not individuals. I want to say here on this TV that we will not allow hate for particular individuals to cloud us so that we go into the election to remove people because they hate other people. That is not going to be. We must go into the next election based on issues. Every single leader, beginning with myself and my colleague here, Senator Joe Nyutu, has to be viewed if he's defending his seat as a senator. If I'm going to run for a particular seat in politics, I have to be viewed for who I am and for what policies that I actually stand for going forward.
All right.
But it is not going to be because we hate so-and-so because of how they dress, because of what it is. Hate is not going to be a measure. And we are saying that the debate about the next election, whether the other people like it or not, must and will be only about issues.
All right, gentlemen, we have to leave it there. Thank you.
No,
so much.
Trevor.
We have to leave
Trevor,
it there.
I know time has come to an end.
Time.
I know
We have
time
to
has
leave
come
it
to an
there,
end. Please, just give me 1 second. I know time has come to an end.
Yeah.
But, you know, what Nyamita's closing remarks is propagating the false narrative that this country, for example, hates Ruto or in a...
I have not spoken about an individual. I've just said that we are not going to go because of hate.
But
we are not going to go about sentiment.
but
We are going to go
No,
issues.
yes. But what is
we
the
must
Yeah.
go to the next election based
right.
on issues.
No, but what is the
Kenyans to
what is the
decide.
Yes,
context?
absolutely. And it has to be
Kenyans to decide.
Trevor,
And
the
it has to be
context-
about issues.
The context is this.
Yes.
We have a government that has actually failed Kenyans.
Okay.
So to propagate the false
And
narrative...
to remove that will
we
be
hate
removed
somebody-
based on issues.
Yeah?
All right.
It's
Not on
accountability.
sentiments.
No, based on what Kenyans will want under, under Article 1.
Read Article 10 of the
Nation.
Constitution.
Coming up next is Cooking Tips. Bye for now.